Hello, friends. It is holiday party time. You don't have to get dressed up. Your family's not going to be here. And all you got to bring is your questions for one Eric Bischoff. Welcome to After 83 Weeks. Let me see all my friends. Woo! Hello, gentlemen. I've got George, Adam, and Steve here with me tonight. And of course, WWE Hall of Famer, #1 best-selling author of Grateful, and lone man out there on the ranch, Eric Bischoff. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Your Christmas little gimmick and just you look like a little elf. So
Let
cute.
me tell you, I am so bursting with holiday freaking cheer this year. I don't know what it is. I'm not always like this.
I love that. Flip that. I am so bursting with freaking holiday cheer. I love that.
I call shenanigans because we all know why. The real reason why Christy is so festive this time of year, and it's because of a day that starts with Christ and it ends with day, and it ain't Christmas Day. It's Christy's birthday, which is going to be tomorrow. So don't even act like as if your birthday's not tomorrow.
All right, let's do it right now. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Christy. You guys suck. Happy birthday to you.
I feel like we could all hear that we were out of. I feel like we could all hear we were out of sync with each other, and then kind of pewtered out that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I was out by second verse.
I loved it. Alex heard us and had to come. He was like, I know that song, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. We also have a lot of our friends here in the chat wishing us a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. And Beyond the Script is here. Nicholas and his wife Tanya are here as per usual. We got tons of our other friends in the chat. Josh, always good to see you. Hello, and thank you for joining us tonight. If you guys have questions for Eric, you can put them right there in the chat there in the live chat. I know you all are well versed in that now that Eric, you're doing the 83 weeks live, which is pretty freaking cool.
Oh, wow. I can see them. I just clicked on them, and now I can see them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there they are.
Yeah. I've been doing this with you guys for about 4 or 5 years now, and I just figured out how to see the chats.
What is this comments button? I don't know what this comments button does.
Yeah, absolutely.
That old dog new trick thing is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
You're all logged in now.
Speaking of bursting of Christmas cheer, has anybody heard about or talked about WWE's latest release, but also by this time should be on her way to being a millionaire, Mandy Rose? Eric, what's your take?
God, we're just jumping right into the shit.
Yeah, man. Why not?
We're not wasting any time.
That is the Adam Woods way.
My transitions suck.
Actually, yeah, they do.
At least he acknowledges it.
But when you get right to the point, you don't miss the transition. So, look, let me tell you what I know. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, nothing. I know nothing beyond a shadow of a doubt. I only know what you guys know. What do we read? We read that she was let go because she had some kind of a OnlyFans, Fansly, private paywall thing.
I don't think that's it, because she's not the only one that has one of those paid subscriptions. So everybody's saying, oh, she's just trying to make money or whatever. It's like, no, like it's not. I apologize if I offend anyone, but it's like I think her subscription site was a little bit more Skinamax, something that you'd see on Skinamax as opposed to something that you'd see on a Maxim magazine, I guess you can say.
So George, you have to full disclosure then. You're speaking as a subscriber, someone who has been watching her content on Fan Time. Really?
What do you got for Christmas?
You had the screenshots.
It wasn't. Wow. Somebody sent me this.
So let's look. If you're gonna bring it up, you can't dance around the edges. Okay. So
no.
what's the deal? What? So what? So what? Even if she has one of those sites, does that put her in? And I'm asking because I don't know. I'm not challenging you, but I'm just trying to clarify the discussion. Is there anything that we know is in her contract that prevents her from being involved in a non-wrestling enterprise that features her likeness? Do we know that?
There's two. One is her morals clause, which is incredibly vague, and you'd have to take it to court to figure out.
I was going to say, it's professional wrestling for crying out loud.
But that's the morals
Yeah, but
clause
that's in there.
But then also, Kevin Nash talked about this the last 2 weeks. All WWE contracts have, as he described it, 60 reasons that they could fire you, and the 60th reason is for any reason whatsoever. So that's the contract she entered into.
Okay. So let's say for what, because we don't know, right? We don't know what her contract says. We're going by what Kevin says, and he's pretty knowledgeable or whatever. So let's just assume all of that is true. She's a pretty high profile talent. They discover that she's taking her little side hustle a little too far. Do they need to fire her over that, or do they choose to fire her over that?
I mean, I think it can be either or. I mean, I think you can make the argument for either one. I mean, but at the end of the day, they probably felt like they needed to.
Why?
We don't know
Why?
whether she was offered. We don't know whether she was given the opportunity to take the stuff and the site down. We don't know that if she was told to take it down.
See, and Christy, that's the part. This type of discussion, which we're having here, and I'm glad we are, is a perfect illustration of the type of narrative that finds its way to publications and then becomes part of the narrative. But Christy, you just pointed out we don't know fuck all. We don't know anything. So all of the speculation I find interesting as to what motivates people to engage in it, but we don't know anything. We don't know anything about our contract.
True.
We don't know anything about what was going on behind the scenes. So unfortunately, we're left to like make shit up. And it's more fun making shit up than to talk about what we know. But
I mean, for all we know, maybe she quit. Maybe she said, "All right, well, I'm not gonna give up the site." So, again, we don't know.
So one thing that we do know, or at least came directly from her agent, said that she is on track to make $1 million by Christmas, that she has already made $500,000 in the week since she has been released on her fan time page. So I think that's something we can have a little fun with, because that came straight from the agent. So $500,000 in 7 days, and she's going to make $1 million. Can anyone, can we say maybe this isn't the best for her when we hear those kind of details? I don't know. I think the part of this that I sort of had a problem with was, who's the moral authority here, right? Matt Bloom, Shawn Michaels, the moral authority. Like, yes, keep writing NXT. You're doing a great job, but the moral authority, probably not.
So where did Shawn Michaels get thrown into the conversation?
Well, reportedly, Matt Bloom brought the content that she was putting out to Shawn Michaels on the day of their last taping, and he said,
"Well, what did I tell you about Matt Bloom? First of all, let's go right to the source. What's Matt Bloom up to?
Don't get me started.
Subscribing.
Prince Albert?
Hoping to see Tino on there. Moral authority? I don't know. And Eric, when you bring up the thing about the contract and we don't know what's in it, what we do know is that it is extremely vague, likely in accordance with morality and nakedness and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. If Mandy called you tomorrow, Eric, yes, and she said, "Eric, what should I do? Eric, what should I do? Should I try to go to AEW? Should I go hardcore?"
Here's what I would say. I would say, Mandy, what the fuck are you talking about? Go to AEW. You're making more money 45 minutes a week than you could make in the next 2 years at AEW. Why would you do that? No, man, she's been to the mountaintop. If she's going to go the route of OnlyFans or Fansly or whatever thing I don't have an opinion of it. I think it's kind of great. If I know this is stepping into probably a conversation that we shouldn't, or I shouldn't, but I don't pass judgment. If women or men decide that they want to be involved in OnlyFans, then I don't care. As long as they're not hurting anybody and they're doing it on their own volition, what do I care? I don't see the conflict. Now, if it's hardcore porn or there's degrees of everything, but generally speaking, I don't get it.
This has brought up some conversation about exploitation as well in, how much of her sexualized is WWE allowed to put out versus her. She had some photos on social media just in the weeks before this where she was completely nude, covering herself with 2 titles,
So
WWE
what?
titles.
So
Well, that's what I'm
what?
saying. So if that was okay, how is she supposed to know where the line is? Exactly. So what? How is she supposed to know that's okay, but what she wants to post on Fan Time is okay? You know what I mean? If anyone's going to say what's exploitative to her, it should be her.
I kind of agree with you. I don't kind of agree with you, but I agree with you. There we go.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Wait, is that on her main picture? Is that her
Yeah,
main?
that's her.
Yeah,
That's her banner
Twitter.
photo on Twitter.
Twitter.
All right,
Yeah.
take me back to that picture one more time. Whose belts are those? I can't tell.
WWE's.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
that's different. That's different. Now you're using their intellectual property promoting yourself on your own fan page. That I'd throw a flag on.
So she posted those publicly a while ago, and they were okay with it. That's what I'm saying. Like, if
I don't think
that's
she's naked in
cool,
those pictures, anyways.
they were okay with it. Well, all right. But if WWE was okay with her posting those photos, then how is she supposed to know where the line is? How is she supposed to know that last week it wasn't going to be okay anymore?
So let me just give you the other side of the coin. And we're all projecting here and we're all kind of guessing here. And it's all hypothetical. None of this means anything. But what if she asked for permission to post that picture? So, yeah, they were okay with it because she went through the proper protocol and asked.
I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
There's always that other side. There's always that other side. It's so easy to jump on the side of your emotional tendency. If you relate to an individual or you relate to a situation or whatever, it's always easy to gravitate towards that as that's the answer. But there's always another side of shit. Got to at least kind of think about that. There's my lesson. You can snatch the pebble from my hand, grasshopper. I dare you.
There you go.
If we're going by the reportedly, I think I've heard the Mattel portion of this story enough that I can't discount it. That it's not, she was on the edge of whatever their morality clause said, and then Mattel, who is probably a $2, $3, $5 million a year deal, said, "Hey, we don't like that," and then they asked her to take them down. But that's me speculating. I don't know.
So they may have asked her to take it down, and she may have chosen to say no, because she was probably making as much money or more. You know what I mean? It's like, who knows? Who knows? Let's quit speculating.
Yeah. Here's what we.
Good for you, Mandy. By the way,
Yeah.
if I could make that kind of bread, having that kind of fun, I'd be doing it all day long.
Yeah. And fun fact, what we do know is John
I could have
Jones.
my own OnlyFans. I'd be the oldest OnlyFans.
People are requesting it, and you might not be the oldest.
Eric, I think if you and Lori did it together, I think that would be the real cha-ching. Because there are a lot of couples on there, but I don't know that there are couples of your life experience who still look so damn good.
Wow, that could be. We could make $500,000 before Christmas. Well, we can't now because she's in Tampa and I'm here.
Maybe that's it.
I'm
Yeah,
not
just
doing
start with your solo
folks.
vid.
But here's one thing that we do know, that Mandy Rose, or the artist formerly known as Mandy Rose, and former light heavyweight champion John Jones have the same manager, and I think that's amazing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
She's going to be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's going to be just fine. Well, let's
All
get
right, what
to
else do we got? Come on.
let's get to some thoughts from our live chat. They're going totally off script. The Landlord Harassment Channel says it is obvious that Dungeon of Doom is the greatest faction of all time. We're taking a hard right here, people. Better than NWO, bigger than DX, even bigger than the Freebirds. What moment did you, Eric, realize that the Dungeon of Doom would lift WCW to new heights?
First time I tried psilocybin.
10 points.
I said, what is psilocybin? Oh, it's just a mushroom. It's no big deal. It grows in the dirt. Well,
That's what they all say.
I figured out that it actually grows in cow shit in the desert, but they said no, it grows in the dirt. I said okay, I'll try it. Put some in some tea. Next thing I knew, boom, Dungeon of Doom on my TV.
Love it.
We just got banned from YouTube for that because we're talking about shit like that. It was all a joke, folks. It never happened.
Yeah.
Don't ban us, Mr. YouTube, please, Mr. YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they don't want you to promote on here. So even if we just
I'm
say
not
the
promoting
words,
it. It was a joke. It was parody.
Joke. Well,
Walker
I mean,
Brothers, get your.
speaking of Dungeon of Doom, though, and I'm not saying it was the greatest thing ever, but do you think it just gets a bad rap in general just because of? I mean, wrestling is a popularity contest to begin with. You know what everybody thinks it's cool or not cool. Again, I'm not saying it's the greatest thing in the world, but do you think it just gets a bad rap because of the time period of like '95 when wrestling was down in general, or because it was in WCW? Oh, boo, WCW bad. No, it wasn't bad. That's just a narrative that everybody likes to tell. Do you think it was really that? I don't think it was that bad. I mean, for all I know, I was a kid when I was watching that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, like keep giving me more. Like I'd love to see. Like I guarantee you, if that was out today, WWE would be making millions of dollars. And speaking of Mattel, and a Mattel action figure with the Dungeon of Doom and the Zodiac and the Shark and all that jazz. So I just think it's a big narrative. Do you think a lot of it? Do you think I'm just all boo ha ha, or do you think maybe it wasn't as bad? It just
No, I think you touched on several things. God damn, you covered a lot of ground. No, but I think initially my thought is it gets a bad rap partially because of timing. That period of time when Nitro first emerged and I was leaning into more reality, surprise, shock, bringing out Lex Luger, giving away finish, all that stupid shit I was doing, all of that was designed to create tune in and to appeal to an older demographic. And when that started working, I started realizing that our characters also had to appeal to an older, and when I say older, I mean 18 to 49-year-old demographic. So that's when we started leading into more reality, and which actually led to the NWO. But there was about a 12-month window there, 9-month window there, that was kind of a transition window where we were still mostly presenting, even early Nitro, even though we began trying to lean into reality a little bit more and surprise, we were still pretty much presenting a late 80s formula, a WWE light formula. And the Dungeon of Doom was part of that. It reflected that period of time when we were still hanging on to the last vestige of what worked in the 80s, the over-the-top, very animated kind of, and this leads me to your second point, childlike presentation, because you pointed out in your setup for this that you were a kid. Well, things that appeal to you as a kid aren't going to appeal to you when you're 18 to 49. That character or the Dungeon of Doom just happened to appeal to you at a point in time in your life when that type of character presentation would be appealing to you. It wouldn't be 6 years later. And that's another reason why you still think, because it brings you back to that period in time that you still remember because it makes you feel good, like we all do for different things in our lives. Mine is macaroni and cheese with paste picante sauce, but whatever. We all have those things that bring us back to that moment in time and go, oh, that was the best back then. Oh, man, that makes me feel good. I remember that. So,
apples and oranges.
I have to try that.
Apples and oranges, but you can say the same about like a John Cena, where he wasn't appealing the adults, he was appealing the kids, but yet he still was bringing in those numbers and the ratings.
Say that again. I muted you and I didn't mean to.
I'm saying because a lot of things that appeal to as a kid may not appeal to the adults, but you can say the same thing about like a John Cena.
In what way?
Like he was somebody that was definitely not appealing to the adults, but every time he comes out, it was all the kids screaming and all the women screaming.
Yeah, but again, and again, this takes a different. You have to be willing at least to try to take a different point of view. That was also at a point in time when the WWE PG business model was first and foremost, and it was proving to be massively successful, which probably, arguably, not even arguably, I don't think you could argue that transition from that PG area with John Cena into a more robust male 18 to 49-year-old product, that was an important part, and it was a transition. But I think John Cena, here's my point, I think John Cena crossed over more than you're giving him credit for.
I think that's fair.
Out there. I think John Cena's like definitely a top 3 of all time. So, yeah,
he's a fan. He's a fan.
Stevie 100 says, "Look at the Firefly Funhouse, even in the modern era."
I forgot
when talking to Dungeon
in my rant, because like you watch it now, and especially if you read it on paper, I'm sure a lot of people will be like, "Dude, this is a stupid idea," but it doesn't really matter. We've seen how many stupid ideas have we seen become so great, and how many great ideas did we come that didn't really execute well. And I don't see much of a difference. I just think a lot of it is just like, oh, Eric Bischoff did this. Like, no, like it has nothing to do with that. Like you're just trying to rewrite the history in your mind, not you guys obviously, but a lot of these Twitter geeks about like, oh well, yeah, if it was WCW, it must have been bad. I just think it gets a bad rep. I don't think it's as, my point is, I guess at the end of the day, my point is I don't think it's as bad as everybody says it was.
I disagree, but whatever.
I
did it.
What speaking of character-driven, storylines, did you get a chance to see any of the latest developments with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy, their interaction with LA Knight from SmackDown this past week?
Zero.
Ooh.
Zero.
Are you watching anything wrestling-wise right now, Eric, or do you think you will in the next few days when you got some time off? Anything on your radar?
Well, it's Thursday, so I won't have anything on my radar until next week. And I'm going to be in Tampa. Hopefully, I'll be in Tampa next week, so probably not for the next week or two. I mean, I'll try to keep up, on social media and clips and things I follow, but, I don't have any plans to sit down and cook a dinner and watch wrestling on TV. And neither do any of you, I hope.
True. John Graham wants to go back to Kevin Sullivan. He says, what do you think, Eric, a better writer or a better wrestler, Kevin Sullivan?
Much better writer. Kevin Sullivan was probably a really, really good performer early in his career. I only can judge what I know, and I didn't see Kevin in the ring early in his career. Mm-hmm. I was only familiar with the guy that worked behind the scenes, and the guy that worked behind the scenes was badass. I love working with Kevin. I miss Kevin. I want to go spend some time with Kevin, maybe in the spring, because he's lives on an island off the coast of Seattle or something. Too damn cold there right now, but yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with Kevin. Kevin's amazing. You guys may have heard me say this saying before. I didn't coin it, but I just stole it. You can slow a fast horse down, but you can't speed a slow horse up. And that's a true thing. If you have a horse that horse's DNA is to run hard and run fast because it just loves to run. You got to work really hard to slow that horse down. But it can be done. It takes patience and time, but it can be done. On the other hand, if you've got a horse that just didn't want to run, there is nothing you can do to make that horse run fast. And Kevin was a fast horse that you could slow down. He was a really brilliant guy. And if I'm ever in a room with people creatively again, I want to be in a room with a bunch of people who like to run real fast, and you have to work real hard to get them to slow down, because that's manageable. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Henney actually has a really good point, and I hadn't thought of it till just now. I just realized this show was the founder of the ad-free show's live studio audience. just like breaking new ground in WCW, Eric is the one involved. So before we went live, before we did the live tapings on ad-free shows, we did this show. And now we do the live tapings. So we're the precursor, we're the training ground, and it's all thanks to you, Eric.
Yes.
It's thanks to you guys. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. I'm only here because I like to talk to you guys whenever I can. If you guys said I don't want to do that anymore, we'd be done. Be over.
Would we ever?
You could enjoy your beers in peace tonight.
No, I'd be sitting in front of my. I don't even have my DirecTV. My DirecTV went out because of the storm.
Oh man!
Oh, wow.
So now all I have is Sling.
Ooh.
I watched like a 12-part documentary last night on what a piece of shit Hugh Hefner is on A&E.
Oh, man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's intense. Yeah.
Did you see that? That's horrible.
I haven't seen
Oh,
that. Do you need me to get you some links? What shows are you behind on?
No, I've seen it all.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean I've seen that. I've seen that whole
Oh, yeah.
series. I watched all of them back to back, 12 of them, or whatever there was.
La Luz del Mundo is the one I got on HBO Max. I'm been getting into the cult documentaries, and La Luz del Mundo. I'm episode
man.
1. Yeah, man.
There
Heck yeah.
are too many cult documentaries.
Oh yeah, going clear. HBO is king
yeah.
of those.
Mick Mac.
No, here's the problem I have with that kind of stuff. I like to watch documentaries in order to go to sleep. I generally have to have the television on in order to fall asleep. Don't know why. Is what it is. Which is fine. Except for once I fall into a really deep sleep, I'm hearing the television and I start dreaming I am in whatever it is on television. So if I'm falling asleep to a cult documentary, before you know it, I'm Reverend Jim Jones.
I was just gonna say, I know you're the cult leader in your area.
10
You
points.
are not a follower.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Right on.
While we're on some TV talk, the Landlord Harassment Channel wants to know, what is your reaction to Kevin Costner leaving Yellowstone?
Oh, this is the first I've heard of it.
What?
Wow.
Is this
breaking
not
news.
okay? Let me. Well,
Where's he
now
going?
I need to confirm
What are the
him.
deets?
Spoiler alert.
What's the news here? Come on now.
Cole Hauser is going to be taking over. Your friend Cole Hauser taking over
Oh,
the lead role.
so Kevin's going to pass. He's going to get shot, or he's going to get fucked up. Somebody's going to assassinate him as governor, whatever. Any of that makes sense. And then Cole, who's like a son to Kevin Costner's character, and the husband to Kevin's beloved daughter, Beth, who's fucking hot as hell. Just like bounce around the room hot, fun.
Beth Dutton.
Yeah, I could see it, but I didn't hear that this was a done deal.
No, it sounds like he's considering it. This headline says considering leaving his $1 million per episode paycheck behind. He's currently debating whether or not to leave.
He's not doing it for the money. This is a passion project for him. Have you guys seen Kevin Costner's documentary on it's on Fox Nation, a streaming platform, about Yellowstone?
I've not seen it yet, but I've seen all the commercials run on
Commercials.
football.
Put your politics aside, subscribe to it, Fox Nation, just to watch that series, then unsubscribe. Cost you a hand, less than a fucking Starbucks. But it's such a good documentary. And in that documentary, you understand why Kevin Costner did Dances with Wolves, and why he's doing Yellowstone. Really, and I, honest to goodness, in the summertime, I can look out my back window and look right into Yellowstone National Park.
Wow.
And I learned things about Yellowstone National Park that in 23 years of living here, I didn't know. It's a really good documentary. I encourage you to look at it.
Yeah.
Is it a documentary series, or is it just one big documentary?
I think it's a 4-part series.
It'll go on my watch list.
It's really good. It's so good. And like I say, you just learn. There's so much about this country we don't know. I mean, we're all just born in our own little bubbles, and we go through our bubbles. We just move along the assembly line of life. But man, you go back and you learn about some really important things that took some really ballsy people to do at a time when it was life or death. And it's just really fascinating. Makes you appreciate things a little more.
Also, Josh Henney is asking what that's documentary and where to view it. It's Yellowstone 150. It's on the Fox network. Fox Nation is the name of the network.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fox Nation.
Sit down with the fam and learn something this holiday season.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. And shout out to Dances with Wolves, because that was the first time I saw boobies. And so that was that.
That was a great movie.
Heck yeah.
Poignant memories. I feel
Not
like
gonna
most
take that
people's
bait.
is Titanic. That's interesting one.
Fifth Element.
All right,
Depends on the age.
one more TV question. Josh also wants to know, Eric, if you've watched the Dangerous Breed series on Netflix about Teddy Hart. This is something I know you guys, George, Steve, and Adam were talking about earlier
it's
this
actually
week.
on
maybe
Peacock.
taking in.
It's actually on Peacock. I haven't gotten past episode 1, but oh my gosh, what the heck is? I mean, there was a bit of it, and I think they allude to it, but Teddy had a younger brother, Matt, or a brother of some sort, and he had a flesh-eating disease. And when Matt passed away due to the flesh-eating disease, Teddy went off, like weird.
Interesting. That's the catalyst. Does that interest you at all, Eric?
Nah, too weird.
Well, wasn't
In
Teddy
general.
a part of the Matt Rats deal? Like Teddy, Harry?
I don't know. I was invited to go to that Matt Rats thing, and I watched it on TV, and I left. So I don't know anything about Matt Rats. I thought it was kind of a cool idea. I was invited to fly in to evaluate it to see if I'd be interested in becoming a partner, and I didn't, and I wasn't. But I did go, and I did watch, and Teddy was there. That's all I know. But as far as the contents in this documentary about Teddy, I don't know. I don't know anything about Teddy. He's kind of a whack guy. I mean, I think I crossed paths with him after Matt Rats because he was like 12 or 14 or whatever he was. But later on, I think I crossed paths with him once or twice, and I wasn't very impressed. Seemed to be a very immature guy.
Yeah. That was an interesting tidbit about Matt Rats, though. Did you not think you could fix it, or did you not want to take that on?
No, I just want to take it on. I thought it was a really cool idea. But, here's what I learned. And I learned this one the hard way, guys. This one, I still have to remind myself of the lessons I've learned the hard way. When I see an idea that I get excited about, I am absolutely convinced I can make it work. I don't care what anybody says. I'll find a way to make it work. That's a great attribute about 3 times out of 100. 97 times out of 100, you're going to learn the hard way. You should have figured something out before. You should have planned better. And when I saw Matt Rats, I was at that point where I love the idea, but a great idea doesn't matter if you don't have enough funding and runway to make it work. And my opinion has always been anybody that thinks they're going to launch a wrestling company and become profitable within a 10-year window is kidding themselves. It takes a lot of money to make an idea work. It takes 3 to 5, 7 years to really flesh out a business model. And that means for the first 3, 4, 5, you got to be willing to lose money, maybe break even. And not many people have the patience for that. And I certainly didn't want to get involved with a company that didn't have the funding to do that.
Well, there's a guy in Jacksonville that might see different.
Well, no, I mean, that's funny. But look, Tony's got all the money he needs.
Right.
Tony is not for lack of funding.
Right.
So that's not Tony's issue. Tony's issue is what's the vision? What's the succession? What's going to differentiate your product from your competition? Once you figure that out, now you can begin to figure out a vision. But until you figure that out, you're just throwing stuff up against the wall.
Well, I mean, while we're on it, right? So, Ring of Honor at their last pay-per-view, they basically Tony Khan said in the post-match press conference that they're actually resurrecting Ring of Honor's old streaming platform and basically launching TV out of that. Do you think that was a failure of him trying to get Turner interested and they weren't?
I don't know if I call that a failure. Maybe it was an attempt. Maybe it didn't work. But you got to be careful with things like failures. A lot of things, things change so quickly. On the business side of the television business, the variables, during the same period of time when Tony purchased Ring of Honor and today, and recently when that announcement was made, an entire senior management staff at Warner Brothers Discovery was let go less than 10 days ago.
Right.
So here's what happens in that world, folks. Dave Meltzer will never talk about this because he doesn't know. But you're going to have senior people, senior management that have made commitments and decisions about what they want to do going forward for the next year or 2 years. Because that's how corporate shit works. You plan out for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and that plan is approved, and you progress along that plan, and then you're measured against that plan. That's basically how corporate life works. But if you're a senior management person and you've been part of creating this 12-month, 24-month plan, and you've been fired, and someone else is coming in to take your job, do you think they want to do the same things you wanted to do? That got you fired?
Absolutely not.
So that's why when you hear about all these management changes at the top, it's like, yeah, how does that affect wrestling? It affects everything.
Yeah.
Because the more you bring in senior management people to replace people that made decisions prior to them showing up, the more likely those things are all going to go away.
Okay, so to parlay on that, so let's just say for whatever reason, right, the contract negotiations with, AEW and the Warner executives, they go go down in flames, right? Could this be a precursor to AEW's main channel existing on a streaming only platform?
Who knows? First of all, I'll tell you, if I was a betting man, I don't like to bet, actually. I was in Vegas. I didn't bet $1. I ate $600 worth of food in 48 hours, but I didn't bet $1. I love
Sushi?
I had sushi. I had Indian food.
Steakhouse? You go to steakhouse? Did you go to Salt Day?
Yep. I did one buffet. I love buffets. At the Wynn. That place, I've never been in the Wynn before. That place is fucking crazy. Holy smokes. Anyway, what was the question?
The question was, do you see AEW transitioning to I guess it's called straight to consumer model if anything goes wrong with the HBO Max deal? And I think there might be a breadcrumb here in this press release where it says the Honor Club will also be available on the brand new Ring of Honor app that we're beta testing. So they're investing in the technology to specifically have their own version of Netflix, and they're just using Ring of Honor to do it.
Oh, good luck with that.
I know.
Yeah.
But if you get it right, you get to cut out the middleman. And if you get it wrong, you're still a viable product for the middleman.
Good luck. That's, yeah.
Yeah, you have to attract people with Ring of Honor content first, which I'm guessing will be
Well,
a bit of a
That's
task.
the biggest issue. Ring of Honor couldn't make any money for Sinclair.
Right.
Which is why Sinclair got rid of it. The YouTube revenue from Ring of Honor was negligible. It was shockingly low. It has no value because it created no revenue. It created no revenue because it didn't resonate with a significant enough part of the audience to be a viable business model. For crying out loud. That's why Sinclair sold it. And Tony's going to buy it and then revert back to the model that didn't work in the first place.
Yeah.
Is that what we're
He's
saying?
got high hopes.
I was about to refute it, and now I'm looking at their YouTube revenue, and you're right.
I know I'm fucking right. I'm always right. That's why you guys talk to me.
That's why we go to you.
Facts.
All the time. You do your research. You can do your fucking Google search. And I'm still going to be right.
I thought they were exploiting their lottery more. I thought they were exploiting their library better than they are.
It's a good thing you would call me before you would buy them.
Sure. Yeah.
There we go.
Here's a comment from one of our live chatters. Jared said, Merry Christmas, Mr. Bischoff. Hope you return to Melbourne, Australia sooner than later. I would love to buy you a cold beverage. All the best to you, sir. What are your travel plans for 2023, Eric? What's on the calendar?
Wow, I've got something to do in Denver for a documentary. I've got something to do for WWE in January. Did I say November? No, January.
You said Denver. Yeah.
Denver. No, I'll be in Denver. I'm going to. We've got an 83 weeks live show in Atlanta on January 15th, I believe, 14th or 15th. It's in association with the Impact Wrestling event. It's going to be great. We're going to be there. Center Stage. I'm going back to Center Stage. I can't wait. I honestly cannot wait. It's going to be a really cool homecoming for me. And then we're going to do an 83 weeks live show from there. So yeah, now we got a graphic. Very freaking cool. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that very much. And you can see right there how you get your tickets. It's going to be a blast. That's all I got. I'm going to be in Melbourne, Florida on February 11th, I believe. And that's so far all I got for the rest of the year. For the first part of the year.
Well, we can say that there's going to be a StarCast in Australia. We just don't know the date.
No, there is. I'm sorry. I drifted off into where I'm going to be in February. Yeah, we are going to come to well, it's presumed we're going to be in Australia probably towards the end of 2023. And obviously we come to Melbourne.
Oh, Mick Mac will be there.
Yeah. And
Speaking of, let's throw one in from Mick Mac. What do you call a broke Santa? Saint Nicholas. Yeah,
but look at that picture he has of his avatar. I mean, it's like me. Man, what a fucking horrible picture of me that is.
You're like very blonde in this too, unless it's just a filter.
No, it's just a light, or maybe it's Mick Mac because he's kind of weird that way. But no, it's just my hair being silver. But look, I was just such a sour look on my face. It's disgusting.
Speaking of Australians, we got $10 from Jared, who just asked us that previous question.
Great, that's like $2 American money.
No, it's the opposite.
It's more than that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I know you were just talking about 2023, but for 2022, is there anything that you were grateful for?
Speaking of grateful, I think you need to be a little bit more grateful for Jared's donation.
Yes.
That was a very nice donation. And you just basically shit all over it, which
jobbed it out. 100%.
I want to
jobbed it out.
Jared,
and I take exception to that. So, Jared, thank you very, very much.
I want to thank Jared A. For his kind donation.
He has a question.
Thank you so much for everything.
He does have a question.
Where were we?
What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for in 2023?
What am I grateful for? First of all, honestly, not to shift gears at you guys too much, but I'm grateful for my faith. Grateful to God, because none of this would happen otherwise, and I wouldn't be doing this. So, first and foremost, I wouldn't have my family. I wouldn't have the relationship with my wife. My life wouldn't be what my life is without God. So, bing, first. Health, same thing, thanks God. Beyond that, I'm grateful for my dog. I'm grateful for the quality of life that I have. I'm grateful that I really don't want anything else. And that's a really weird thing to say, but I'm so content with what I do have and grateful for what I do have. that for the first time, and it's not like new. This has been like the last 5 or 10 years, but like I don't want anything. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I don't think I would go out and buy anything. I might do some shit, you know. I might like fly my family to Scotland for a vacation and things like that, but things, physical things, tangible things, I absolutely have no passion for. I'm grateful for them. I don't want to sound like a pig. I have a beautiful home and I know that. I live in a beautiful area and I know that. But I don't need anything else. I'm good. And I'm grateful for that.
You'd also be
Here's-
grateful if people go to bischoffbook.com and get that hardcover of that paperback. I had that queued up because I know that's what George was trying to cue you into, but it got deeper.
There
Oh no, I totally forgot about his book.
Oh, well, then
I'm kidding.
here I am under the
I was
bus.
gonna say,
Wow. Ouch.
it's a good read, folks. Get
Yeah.
up in there.
I
was
had
gonna say
fun.
something,
I had
but
fun
forgot.
doing that book. I had fun. I was, digging into your own head is kind of cool. I don't do it unless somebody forces me into it. No, I don't even like to be in my own head. Fuck. You think Meltzer hates it?
You need a Guy Evans or a Conrad Thompson to kind of
Yeah,
in there.
because it's just I'd rather not talk about certain things. I mean, and the way that sometimes manifests or has manifested is I get defensive, and being defensive is kind of a negative gig. It's just and it's not fun. And I've learned with Conrad and my wife to look at those situations and have fun with them and look at the bright side. Really, just look at the bright side. It's like, here's a perfect example. I was supposed to leave Wednesday morning, fly to Tampa. My daughter was leaving LA Wednesday morning. She was going to get to Tampa about an hour after I did. My flights all got canceled. I came home. Likely story is I'm not going to make it to Tampa for Christmas. And I know my wife and my daughter and my son have already expressed some concern over that. And I'm having a hard time convincing them that I'm good. Because my biggest issue was getting my daughter to Tampa. Because she's not married. She doesn't have a significant other. I've got my wife 365 days a year. My son Garrett has his wife and now his son 365 days a year. My daughter's, she's flying solo in LA. And my biggest fear was my daughter's going to spend Christmas alone. Well, she's not. She's going to be with my son and my wife and my son's wife and her nephew. And if that's all I get out of this, I'm good. And me and Nikki will have a blast. And I'm grateful to be able to get to that point. Nikki's going to have a riot. She's going to, oh my God, I love it. I love it when she leaves. I want to live alone with him. He's so fucking needy.
Does Nikki take the trek with you out to the studio there, or is she in the house?
Yeah, no, she's right here. She's laying down because I fed her. So she's like a fat pig. She's laying by the front door.
We love that.
She's
Hi,
going to be.
Nikki.
She's doing what I'm going to be doing in about 90 minutes.
There you go.
With a few less beers. All right, we're going to jump back into some more of our questions here from the live chat. Landlord Harassment Channel said the NWL borrowed heavy from the Freebirds. Eric, do you agree?
Oh, Jesus.
Clearly, he agrees.
I think that's a no.
In what way?
Thank you. Thank you for saving me from answering that question.
Maybe
I just want to
his
know
strength.
how he came up with that. Like how do you get Freebirds to end? What's the comparison?
You got
I'm
two stuffed sausages doing a Leonard Skinner impersonation.
Ooh, damn.
I love that.
And which one is
Sounds
Buddy
sausage.
Roberts? Or Dude? I don't know.
All right.
Michael Hayes is going to hate me for that. We were just starting to
He's
become
the river.
friends. And now he's
Aw.
going to hear this somehow in some way, and he's going to hate me again, all over again. Heat his life, Michael. Heat his life. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning. If you don't hate somebody enough to get up in the morning and figure out a way to kick their ass, you're just going to die a slow death anyway. So you're welcome.
So
He'll
heat
get
his
back
life.
at you somehow.
Mick Mac out here trying to get some heat, changing his
Oh, boy.
profile photo
I don't even know what
to
that
a
is.
Magnum PI at Christmas. Eric Bischoff looks like.
So Eric, wow. I think you should get some of those shades, EB.
I could
All
have had
right,
a whole different career with that look.
we're gonna keep stirring the pot here. Joan, Eric, thoughts on Renee
I
Dupree
could have been in some
saying
great music videos with that fucking gimmick, couldn't it?
I mean,
it's not too
yeah.
late. Thoughts on Renee Dupree saying that Vince used to yell at you backstage when you tried to speak to Vince. I tried to find these comments from Renee and I couldn't. So we'll just have to trust Joan that Renee Dupree said that Vince McMahon used to yell at you backstage. True? False?
Never, ever, ever. Vince never raised his. In fact, not only did he not raise his voice ever to me, I had a hard time hearing him even when he was talking to me because he talked really low and he had this really gravelly voice. And it's like you got to stick your fucking ear in his face just to hear a word he was saying. No, I don't know where that came from. That's some just Reddit bullshit.
Another one in the family. Brandon Kuhn asked, Eric, when Hunter was in WCW in 1994, did you think he would become as big as he did?
Yeah, I knew it. I knew exactly what was going to happen.
That's why you worked so hard to hold on to him, right?
I said, you know what? Here's this guy. You know, I know we're bringing him in here as like this flaky lordship, gimmicky character, and he's not very good. But someday he's going to go on to control WWE. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to fire him. So he can go do that. People make me laugh.
I love this answer.
I
You're
love it.
welcome, Hunter.
I'm looking forward to a less than reputable dirt sheet quoting that answer tomorrow.
100%.
I'll text you when it happens, Eric, so we can call them out on Twitter.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Well, speaking of NWO, they just got brought up not too long ago. At what point do you think, or maybe there's like a specific member that joined where it was like, all right, this is a little too much. NWO is getting a little saturated now, a little oversaturated. Was there a specific member where it's like, why is this guy in it?
Virgil.
I'm not doing it.
He says, no, it is the holidays. We're spreading love and cheer.
What can I name you a couple names and you'll be like, oh,
No, I just don't want to do that. I'm in a good mood, guys. I don't want to do negative shit.
Well, I'm going to do it. It was Virgil because he hit on my mom in 93. Fuck that guy.
So he doesn't.
Virgil hit on
Good
your mom?
reason.
I think
my mom
he'd
was
be
good looking.
offended.
I bet your
if
mom
he
is
didn't
hot.
hit on your mom.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
She was. Yeah, 100%. So I
And
guess.
Virgil's a good-looking fella.
Yeah,
I mean, not as good as my dad, obviously.
that's a compliment to your dad.
Could have had a new stepdaddy, Adam.
Oh, geez.
All right, we're gonna wrap our public party and get to the private after party here very shortly, but we'll end off with this one from Mick Mac. Eric, what's a great book to buy for Christmas? It is the one we were telling you about before. It is called Grateful. You can get it on Amazon or at ericbischoffbook.com. And trust me, it is a very heartwarming read. I don't know that Eric will admit how inspiring it truly is. And I know you all are looking for the wrestling juice. That's in there too. But it also makes a great gift. So go head on over and get Grateful for Christmas for yourself or someone else. And make sure that you are subscribed right here to the 83 Weeks YouTube channel. Eric, you're at 80,000 subscribers now, just growing, doing it up. We love that. And we, of course, do a little private after party after this for all of our ad-free shows.
Wait
guys.
a minute. We're at 80,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash is over 140,000. He's been at this for about 2 cups of coffee.
Ooh.
But you made him. So his 140,000 subscribers are your 140,000 subscribers.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Not how it works, Christy.
I see my check every month. They're not. He gets the NWO money. He gets the YouTube money. He gets everything.
Marsha.
Again, hit that big red subscribe button, folks. And if you are an ad-free show subscriber, stay tuned. We've got more after 83 weeks coming for you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please enjoy the holidays. Have a safe
holidays.
and happy Christmas and New Year's. We love you all, and we will see you again soon.
Oh, Christy Tree. Oh,
Take
Christy
care.
Tree.
NWO and Freebirds.
But I really tried in my head to get any correlation. He's good people, but
Yeah.